Hey guys, Czar here. Good morning to you. Hope all is well. Trust you're having a good day. Happy hump day. That means Wednesday, the middle of the week, or the hump of the week, if you will. It's 9:28, 2 minutes before the open. I started about a minute earlier today because I wanted to show you this before the market actually opens in case I want to take aggressive and early action. I don't think I will, but anything's possible on a day like this. These are the daily charts for the three sisters, NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow, the daily frame, if you will. A very bearish picture at this point. We had that 17% sell-off into about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then this rally up fairly orderly into this resistance area, rounded over, and have been dropping. Of course, yesterday a very big down day, significant, about over 3%, I believe, on the NASDAQ, less on the S&P and the Dow, but still certainly participated heavily on the downside. We have another down day today, meaning that the high is significantly lower than the high of yesterday, and the low is lower than the low of yesterday. In other words, we have broken yesterday's low. Same thing on the S&P, and something fairly similar on the Dow. We did marginally break the low of yesterday, but I'm going to ignore the Dow, quite frankly, and many of you who follow my work know that I've been doing that for months now. So bearish frame on the daily, guys. Let's move over to the three sisters, the 1 minute charts here. We can see that we are basically around VWAP, volume weighted average price, for all transactions that have occurred in the future session that began at 6 p.m. last night. It is now nearly 9:30 a.m. the following day, of course. And you can see where we are sitting here coming into the open in about 19 seconds or so. The power grid, there's that daily chart up in the top left-hand side, 30-minute chart here with ranges, or a range here certainly on the 30-minute, and then a 1 minute chart on the right-hand side. Just looking to identify and discover what's happening here on the dance, guys. Get in tune and aligned with the tempo and the rhythm and the footwork of the dance, and potentially taking a trade, tossing the coin, calling heads, and letting probabilities play out from there. Here's the 30-second chart on the right-hand side. Once again, not doing anything yet. Watching the three sisters on another monitor. I'm going to be reasonably patient here today, but maybe a little more aggressive than usual given what I just showed you over here, here, and here. It's actually not showing correctly here on the 30-second chart, but that's okay. Bring you back to the 1 minute. We'll just stay on that for now. Keep it clean. Ignoring the Dow, inside the open range on the S&P, below VWAP and EMAs on the NASDAQ. Pushing up now, above VWAP, above open range on the NASDAQ and the S&P. And again, the Dow I'll largely ignore, but I'll have it, one eye on it just to see what it's doing. If we do get complete and utter alignment and synchronicity across U.S. stocks, and that can get me quite interested at times. Inside this range here, guys. Again, the daily chart is a down day with a bearish body, right? That is a bearish posture coming in, bearish bias, if you will. And now we have the 1 minute chart saying, a little bit of buying coming in here. This is a more bullish posture, at least on the first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles here, the first 5 minutes of the session. Nothing for me to act upon here. I'm not jumping on this just because we're breaking above the open range. That's a mistake that a lot of traders make. It might pay off today, but over a longer term typically does not if it doesn't have support from the higher time frames like the 30-minute and or the daily chart. Pulling back now into the open range and below VWAP and below the 2 EMAs on the NASDAQ, at least temporarily. Getting some support from the S&P and ignoring the Dow. Nothing to do. Under some circumstances, I would see this as a break and a retest, or a form of a break and a retest of the open range for a bullish move continuation, which may in fact happen here, but I'm not interested in taking it given what I'm seeing here on the higher time frames. Range bound on the 30-minute, but bearish day, very bearish posture on the daily. So far, that can flip up, of course. If it does, I could get interested, but not touching this yet. Could absolutely go, and it would be a nice little clean setup. All right, guys, now that we've played around here for a little bit, looking at a buy stop order right above that candle right there. Stop below the pivot. It's because we spent a little bit of time in here, and that's important to me. And I'm in, guys, and I'm in. Long the NASDAQ, looking for 1R here. Now just watching, guys. So there's that break and retest. Spent some time. I wasn't convinced right off the bat, but then seeing this bullish action here and breaking above gave me some more conviction. Stop the break even. Stop the break even right there, just to lock that in. Market open play, guys. Impending zone break on the entry of this candle and break to new highs. I took it slightly before new session highs because I could see what was happening here. The feeling of fresh buying coming in, this candle becoming smaller and smaller, that blue bearish body. Now just waiting to nail the promised land right there. And there it is, guys. Took a little bit of time here, a bit of a grind going against the daily bias here. My bias coming in, and my expectation was going short here below the open range at some point. That was not to be the case given the units of conviction between the three sisters all telling us the same story. So broad-based buying of U.S. stocks, the flipping up or tightening up of that bearish body, eventually into a flip. Give me one moment. Just wanted to get that image from my group of the final trade. And then this body flipping, beginning to tighten and flip up after an extended move down. The reality is, yesterday was an over 3% sell-off on the NASDAQ. That is extended. It doesn't mean overextended. This sell-off could absolutely continue, and I actually anticipated that this morning. But then when everything else was saying, take the shot here, flip the coin, call heads on a clean break and retest. Now I did give it more time than I usually do to see if in fact fresh buying was coming back in here, and took it in here a little bit later than usual, or you can even say took it earlier. Sometimes I will take this above the session high. Usually on a break and a retest it'll be a little bit earlier above the EMAs, but you can see I kind of split the difference here today just to make sure that this bullishness was real. Have an amazing day, guys. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Talk soon.